Kevin Costner is here with us. He's going to be at the Kent stage this Saturday at 8 p.m. What kind of music do you guys?
Well, it's really more of a rock and roll. It represents kind of, I would say, I mean, we write present day about what our lives are about, but a lot of some of our songs, go backwards. About what it was like when we were kids. And something like Superman was a song that deals with when I'm like 11 years old, and hopefully what everybody feels like when they're 11 years old. But we're usually writing age-appropriate songs, but we break off, and we wrote that concept record, like I said, famous for killing each other, which is half instrumental and half lyrical, which is just a testament, I think, to how good the band really is. But our show, when there's beer drinking, will be more of a rock and roll show.
Let's talk about Whitney Houston quickly. I think you gave a speech at her funeral. Were you shocked when you heard of her death, or had you guys kept close at all after you filmed The Bodyguard?
I liked Whitney so much, loved her for what she was able to do and how she behaved and how she performed for us. And I felt strong. I waited a good 8-9 months for her. They wanted me to move on. I said no, we're going to wait for Whitney. So we're tied together, and I was shocked. It's not that I didn't understand where her life was going, but I never wanted to insert myself. I have my own life, and for that matter, I don't even really hang around actors. I like them. I have big connections with them, but I have this kind of big life, and some of the guys that I'm with are guys I played Little League with, and so I didn't keep up with Whitney. A couple times when things weren't going her way, people would ask me, would you say something to her? Which I always thought was funny. Why would they be asking me?
Yeah. Why would she listen to you, of all people?
So I wrote her a couple letters during that time. I never got a letter back, but, people said it meant something to her on some level. But then when she passed, it was a bit of a shock. But I didn't go on radio. I didn't go on TV. And the airways were filled with people talking about Whitney. I thought I would just be... I don't know what I feel when stuff like that happens, and the last thing I'm thinking is go on the radio and talk about somebody.
Yeah.
But what happened was that posture wasn't cool. There a lot of people. I mean, cool to me, but a lot of people. I didn't realize the country wanted to hear from me.
They thought that you were snubbing her in a way.
Yeah, nobody was. Maybe not snubbing, but it was like, "Are you going to say something? Are you going to say something?" And a week in, by the 6th or 7th day, it was like there was this kind of like, what do you think about this? Because they'd already heard from 1,000 other people on Pierce Morgan or whatever about who she was. And
I served her at McDonald's once. Tonight I'm Pierce Morgan, the drive-through worker. Yeah,
and other celebrities and blah blah blah. But finally, I was thinking, God, I again managed this wrong. I should have said something. I had my own feelings, and I actually went out the day she died and. Because I had a tape recorder with me, a video thing, and I actually said something to a friend about who she was. I still have that. No one's ever seen it. But I got a call from Dionne Warwick, and she said, would you speak at the funeral? And I immediately said yes, and I immediately regretted saying it because then I felt, what in the world am I going to say, and why was I even asked? But I have failed to kind of realize how much the public had aligned us.
Well, yeah, I mean, because you may not have spoken to her for years and years, but it's almost like people can watch that movie on HBO at any time, and it's locked in time.
The movies are bigger. They're bigger than us.
Yeah,
they're bigger than us, and so I really labored over what to say and how I would say it. And but I said to her, I go, look, if you want me to speak, I said I can't do a 3-minute thing. I can, if you let me speak till I'm done, I'll do it. If you don't want that, then you. And Dionne was just cool. She said, yeah, man. So I came, and I had no idea how long it was. I was told it was like around 17 minutes. But I wanted to start, and I wanted to finish. And that's what I did.
Do you see a lot of this in another, we were talking about sort of perceptions, regular people, perception of Hollywood. One of them is that there's a bunch of substance abuse and drugs and alcohol and that kind of stuff. Do you see a lot of that when you're making movies and things like that? No.
There was more of it in the 80s. There was just more of it. It was just kind of it was like but I don't see as
Did
much.
you ever get involved in that? Did you ever have?
I tried it. You know, I remember I was a stage manager, and I was a non-union guy, but with union guys coming onto the lot, they're making $300 an hour or a day, and I'm making $30 a day, and I was doing 20 different jobs because I wasn't union, and I remember getting them stuff, and every time I would get them stuff, they'd go, "Hey, come back over here," and there was this little room, and it had like a little line of Coke or something like that, and I did it a couple of times. Every time it seemed like I did a favor for them, they go, "Hey, but you know, it was kind of a social thing, right?" And after about doing that 3 or 4 times, I was a guy that was just trying to buy my first house, and I didn't do well on it. I didn't like it. Just didn't like the way it made me feel. And after another favor, they say, "Hey, come back." And I remember I looked down at them. I said, "How much is that right there?" And they said, "Oh, that's about $20." And I said, "I'd rather have $20." I said, "I'm trying to buy my first house." And that was death at that point. I was not ever invited back into that shack.
Yeah.
I didn't need to go in there again. And so I always associated that with kind of like a Pavlov's dog kind of thing. And I kind of never did it after that. I just went, I'm going to get myself a house. And these things that you think are favors, my dad would just think it's doing a job.
Did Kevin Costner has to run? I know he has other things that he has to. I know he has other places that he has to go. I'd love to sit here and talk to you all morning. I could sit to talk to Kevin Costner all morning long. You still have that oil? Remember when that BP spill happened and you had that machine that you had invested in or whatever?
That I put over $20 million. It was no small thing.
Kidding.
Yeah, I did. I saw this thing out of the DOE 20 years ago. I thought every time we see an oil spill, it's the same. It ends up on the shore. There's people in rubber boots. There's people with pitchforks who didn't create the oil spill, and there's animals like this.
Right.
And I kind of just dawned on me, and I saw this little machine that was about that tall, and I bought it, took it out of the DOE, the Department of Energy, and I scaled it up, and it cost me $20 million. And I knew 20 years ago how to get the oil out of the water faster than anybody in the world.
And then it took that huge oil spill. And what's funny is you come forward at that time, and people start goofing on you, like, "Oh, Kevin Costner to the rescue, Waterworld," and you know.
No, it's true. Well, there's a big machine out there, and it's called the oil industry, and they can make anybody look like a fool. And it's easy to make an actor go like, "Oh, he's suddenly an environmentalist. Oil companies haven't put as much money into cleaning up oil as I have.
Yeah.
I've put more money into anybody, and I'm not a company. And I still have that company. I'm down in Brazil. They're about ready to clean up their act down there. And we still haven't had legislation since that big oil spill. You know, there's no spill. They still think that they want to sink the oil or burn it. And if you had a big thing out here in Lake Erie, you just ask yourself, would you rather have the oil out of the water, or would you rather have it on the bottom, or would you rather have it burn? And the answer is not even 50-50. Most people go, yeah. Gone. Right. Let's take it out. So I've never given up. I'm kind of I'm a plotter, all right, but I don't give up.
Have you made the $20 million back yet?
No, but I will. But that's what I teach my kids. I did something 20 years ago. I don't give up. My daughter is down in Brazil right now, and I can do it better than anybody in the world. I know I will. I know it will succeed. And you don't see me doing press about it, but the day it works, I will do press. I mean, I know it works, but the day it's really adopted as a way of doing business out there, then I'll probably make a little speech.
When you are rich, when you have a bunch of money or you're famous, people tend to sue you a lot. You've been involved in countless lawsuits. Stephen Baldwin sued you over this. He was an investor in this oil thing.
He was not an investor. He was nothing in it. He happened to be at a dinner. It was the oddest thing in the world, and I won't bore the population, but he didn't. It's a silly.
I thought, see, the story I heard was that he invested in this, and then you went and you sold it to someone, and you go, "I'm taking all the profits, and we'll buy you out before." And that didn't happen that way.
He wasn't. Without boring you, you can just read between the lines of. You just look at two people and try to figure out what the story is.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not even close.
That's got to suck about being. You've probably been in what, hundreds of lawsuits throughout your life, I bet, right?
Well, just figure out if Steven's still in the environmental business. See if he's still in the oil business. Was in it for a month.
Yeah. Kevin Costner, he's got to run. He is going to be with his band at the Kent stage. Oh, let me ask you one last question before you go. Because you were famously, we talked about your first wife. You went through a divorce. You I don't know if the number is accurate, but they said you paid like $80 million or something like that. Is that, I ask guys this, just regular guys that we talk to on the phone about, I've never been married. Do you believe that it's fair, or that do you think guys get screwed over? My impression is that guys get screwed over. And I'm not asking for you to comment on you personally or whatever, but I mean, it's like, I don't know how that's even possible. You're the one going out there and working and earning this living or whatever, and then to give half of it to someone. I can't fathom that. And I would be remiss if I didn't ask you about it, because I read that you gave $80 million in a divorce, which is mind-blowing. I feel like I should reach into my wallet, give you $100 or something. But, I mean, what's your opinion on that? Do we need law changes?
I think there should be some changes in a lot of stuff. You could start with that, and you could start with our own government. You could really start going down the list, and I think the old fashioned of like what's fair just somehow has gotten lost in almost everything, you know. And I think, you know, look, half the problems in America aren't really problems. You could really solve them with some good common sense. The other things, when you're talking about age, when you're talking about other stuff, that stuff really is a problem. Why? Yeah. Because by definition, we haven't got a handle on it. That's a problem. But a lot of the stuff that seems to irritate us, that seems obvious, they're not really problems. They're just, we just can't find a collective will to solve.
We're watching Honey Boo Boo, Kevin. Yeah. Everyone wants to do that instead of solve the problems. Kevin Costner and his band Modern West are going to be at the Kent stage Saturday at 8 p.m. It's at 175 East Main Street down in Kent. Their website, and you can get tickets there, thekentstage.com. That's the website. And your website is Kevin Costner modernwest.com. Let's see here. Here we go. This is one of your songs here?
Yeah. This is Stand Strong. Might as well be dedicated to the tribe.
Kevin Costner modernwest.com is the website address. Kevin, I appreciate you coming in. Thank you. Good. By the way, this Draft Day movie that you're doing, I don't know, I kind of know a little bit about it, but I think that's cool. I'm glad that you guys are out here and filming. When's that going to come out?
Probably Draft Day next year, but I got to roll.
Yes. Kevin, thank you, my man.
Thank you,
I appreciate it. We'll be right back on Rover's Morning Glory. Hang on. I got your back.